Gopijana Ballava Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama Rama Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Not too bad, I hope. This is not tuned like a normal harmonium. It seems to be half a note out. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Next time I'll practice before. Hare Krishna. I'll try it. But these yellow marigolds, they don't agree. So, what's the verse today? 32. That's the number of teeth in your mouth. if you're lucky. I've been going to the dentist lately, so that's on my mind. So, we'll record it for posterity. So, 32. Oh, those that know the, yeah. Sacrifice. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Snabitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prajana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So reading from Transcendental Knowledge, chapter 4, verse 32, Bhagavad Gita, translation and commentary, Srila Prabhupada. So, please repeat. Evam Bahu Vidha Yajna Vittata Brahmano Mukhe Karmajan Vidimtan Sarvan Evam Yadva Vimukshase Evam bahuvida yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan viditan sarvan evam gyatva vimukshase evam bahuvida yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan viditan sarvan evam gyatva vimukshase evam bahuvida yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan viditan sarvam evam gyatva vimukshase
evam bahuvida yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karma jan vidhitan sarvan evam gyatva vimukshase evam bahuvida
Bhujnanam brahmano mukhe karmajan viditajanam evam moksha vimokshase
evam bahuvida yajna
vitata brahmano mukhe
karmajan vidhitan sarvan
evam gyatva vimokshase evam bhujnanam vitata brahmano mukhe
karmajan vidhitan sarvan
evam gyatva vimokshase. So, word for word, please repeat. Oh, Matajis, Vaishnavis.
evam
Oh, Bhavyogya, Vitata Brahmano Mukhe, Kamajan Viditam Sarvam, Evam Gyatva Vimokshase. Okay, word for word. Please repeat. Evam, thus. Bahuvida, various kinds of. Yajna, sacrifices. Vitata, are spread. Brahmana, of the Vedas. Mukhe, through the mouth. Karmajan, born of work. Vidhi, you should know. Tan, them. Sarvan, all. Evam, thus. Gyatva, knowing. Vimukshase, you will be liberated. So, translation Srila Prabhupada. All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Please repeat. All these different types of sacrifice as are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Purport Srila Prabhupada. Different types of sacrifice, as discussed above, are mentioned in the Vedas to suit the different types of worker. Because men are so deeply absorbed in the bodily concept, these sacrifices are so arranged that one can work either with the body, with the mind, or with the intelligence. All of them are recommended for ultimately bringing about liberation from the body. This is confirmed by the Lord herein from his own mouth. Mukam karochi vachalam bhangam laite girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Yes, so Krishna is summing up, right? He's saying all these different types of sacrifice. He's already listed them, and as Prabhupada explains in the purport, they're suitable for the different types of worker. The different types of workers, meaning conditioned soul in this world, will be attracted to different types of sacrifice or yajna. So, these different types of sacrifice, they all have a common thread, and that is to bring you to liberation from the material world. So the picture Krishna is giving here is, what's that? So the picture Krishna is giving here is that all the people in the material world who've understood the necessity of sacrifice, there is a range of sacrifices to which they can engage, and they will be attracted according to their particular natures. But they all have a common thread, and that is liberation. So in the Bhagavatam, the definition of liberation is given. Muktir hitaman yata rupam swarupena avashtiti. Liberation doesn't mean to be free of the material energy. Rather, muktir hitaman yata rupam swarupena avashtiti. It means to be situated in your swarup, in your eternal swarup. So all of us have a swarup, own form. We all have a constitutional relationship of a particular type with the Supreme Lord. Now you may have heard of liberation in terms of merging into the Brahman, into the effulgence of Krishna. Of course, in the Ishopanishad, that is not recommended. Hiranmayena patrasya. He said, O Lord, please remove your glowing effulgence, your Brahmajyoti effulgence, your bodily effulgence, so that I can see your form of bliss. So, Bhagavan, Paramatma, Bhagavan, at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, these are different aspects of the Supreme Absolute Truth. So, Brahman means that spiritual effulgence. The material world is dark by nature. It is lit by lights, the sun, the moon, so on and so forth. But the spiritual world is illuminated by the effulgence of the Supreme Lord and the effulgence of the Supreme Lord's devotees. And everything in the spiritual world is effulgent. It is all composed of the Chit Shakti. The Chit Shakti. Everything is in the spiritual world is fully conscious and harmonious, whereas in the material world, everything in this lower energy is under illusion. It is not the highest reality. It is separated from the Supreme Lord by the curtain of the Maya Shakti. In the spiritual world, all the living entities are engaged by Yogamaya. Yogamaya means that energy, that personality. Who is Yogamaya in? Huh? Subhadra, yes. She's born after Krishna. So Subhadra, the sister of Krishna in Leela here upon earth is Yogamaya. She engages everyone in the service of Krishna, and everyone is harmoniously interacting in the service of Krishna. Whereas in the material world, everyone is under Mahamaya, great illusion. And the illusion is that there is no supreme, or the supreme is impersonal, or the supreme is irrelevant. All the people under the Yogamaya potency have this misconception. This is avidya. The avidya, the root of avidya, is not seeing things in relationship to the Supreme Lord. Krishna, just like it says in the Vedanta Sutra, the first point is atato brahma jignash. You should inquire as a human being, as a person following human behavior, you should inquire into the Supreme, that which is supreme. And then janmadi ashiyata. So this is the primary description of the Supreme. And that is expanded in the Bhagavatam, that the Absolute, the Supreme, is that from which everything has emanated. Krishna declares that absolute truth to be himself in the Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate. That everything has emanated from me, material and spiritual. Iti matva, those that understand this, buddha bhava samambita, very nicely with expert realization, they naturally engage in my service. So they become under Yogamaya if they understand Krishna as the source, the cause of all causes. And that is, you'll find that like in Ishupanishad, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnat Udashyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. The absolute truth is perfect and complete, and all emanations from that absolute truth are also perfect and complete. And because he is the complete balance, even though so many emanations emanate from him, he remains complete, Purnam. So Krishna is the source of everything. This is the primary meditation for those that want to realize the Supreme Lord. Yes, we do have a swarup, a relationship with Krishna in one of the five rasas, or a combination, and we all have our constitutional individual swarup. But let that come later. Let us first realize that I am an absolute emanation of the Supreme Lord. Let me realize that Krishna is the source of everything. There is no second emanation. This is the statement of the Pramana, the Vedas, that there is one source. Now in the man-made religions you'll hear there's the devil and there's God and there's Lucifer and there's this, and they see in terms of the material world. In the material world we see good and bad, black and white, relative to ourselves. But actually everything is related to the Supreme Lord. But the material energy, when we're under Maya Shakti, we don't see the connection. This is called avidya. Avidya means that we do not see that the root of everything is the Supreme Lord. Just like later on in the Gita, there's the yoga of the Supreme Person. And it's explained that the creation, material creation, is referenced there by Krishna. He says that it is like a upside down banyan tree. The root is the Supreme Lord, but it has many branches throughout the universe. But the root is the Supreme Lord. So the root of all creation is the Supreme Lord, both material and spiritual. But in the material world, we don't see the root. We just see the branches, the leaves, and we endeavor to enjoy in this material world in forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord, and therefore we, with this dissonance, without recognizing the Supreme Lord as the source, we become under the Mahamaya potency. We become forgetful, and we don't realize the nature of the Supreme Lord and our relationship with Him. And we always quoting that one. Mama angsa jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. That actually every individual soul is part and parcel of the absolute truth, but prakriti stani kashiti, due to conditioned life, is struggling with the mind and senses. And because there's no conscious connection, no realization of the Supreme Source, then he is in the torrent of sense enjoyment. So every living entity, whether they're aquatic, plants, birds, beasts, human beings, they're in a torrent of they're struggling with the mind and senses. They don't have connection with the Supreme Lord because of a bahirmukh. They've turned away from the Supreme Lord deliberately in the root sense, and therefore they only see the material energy, and they see, I want to enjoy, so let me become the controller and enjoyer of the material energy. But this is not the spiritual consciousness. The spiritual consciousness is the Purusha. When we talk about the absolute truth, Krishna, actually there are two aspects, Purusha and Prakriti. So in English the word is Moati. The deity is the supreme deity, is the absolute truth. But in English, that deity that has two aspects, Purusha and Prakriti, the English word is Moati, M-O-I-E-T-Y. So that is the next understanding. Once we understand that Krishna is the source, then we have to understand what is that which has emanated from the Supreme Lord. So Lord Brahma explains that Anadir Adir Govinda, that everything has emanated from the Supreme Lord, and that is defined as his Prakriti. His Prakriti. But when the Jiva Shakti, which is one of the energies that's in the Vishnu Puran, that the energy that emanates from the Supreme Lord is in three categories. One is the internal energy, the Chit Shakti. The next one is the Maya Shakti, the Achit Shakti, the unconscious material energy. And then there is the Jiva Shakti. So this is all Shakti. This is all the energy. This is all Prakriti. But it is not Purusha. Purusha means enjoyer, and Prakriti means enjoyed. Just like Krishna's Swarup Shakti is Srimati Radharani. So Krishna is Supreme Purusha, he enjoys Radharani. But that attitude of enjoyment is towards all his energy. Everything has emanated, Krishna has emanated all the energy to enjoy. The material energy is a place for Krishna's Leela. The spiritual energy is a place for Krishna's Leela. The living entities are emanations, and they are meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. However, in the material world, because of ignorance of the Supreme Lord, we do not realize our position as an answer of the Supreme, and therefore prakriti sthani kashati. We are struggling with the material mind, because the material mind and senses are flowing to the material energy. So we are emanations from the Absolute Truth. Krishna is Supreme Purusha. And because we are also Jiva Shakti, Angsa, we also have an element of Purusha in our nature. And that element of Purusha means that we try to enjoy the inferior energy. So this is an artificial position because we are Jiva Shakti. We are meant to be enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. We are meant to be assistants, participants in the enjoyment of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, there's that sloka in the Bhagavatam, Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Uchate. Our Swarup is to be the servant of the senses of Krishna, to use our senses in relationship to Krishna. We are using our senses now in relationship to the material world, the conditioned soul. And this is the illusory conception, because we are ignorant of our connection and the material energy's connection to the Supreme Lord. And being ignorant of the Supreme Lord, we take ourself to be the center of existence. And therefore we judge relatively. This is good, this is bad, this is acceptable, this is non-acceptable, this is something I want, this is something I want to avoid. So the living entity, in the material world, he is just deciding what he wants and what he doesn't want. That is the whole axis of his thinking. He is analyzing everything. This is my friend because it suits my sense enjoyment. This is my enemy because it doesn't suit my enjoyment. And so the whole construction is built on this relative consideration. What suits me? So in the material world, everyone is in this river, this torrent of the consciousness is going out into the material energy and trying to find something that is suitable and to reject things that are unsuitable. But sacrifices are described here, the sacrifice of knowledge, the sacrifice of possessions, austerities, and so on, that Krishna gave a list. The ultimate goal is to reconnect the soul with the Supreme Source, to understand the relationship between the Supreme Lord and the individual soul. That is transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge is to see the connection between the Supreme Lord and the living entity and everything. I think there's a sloka. Prabhupada used to quote this. This is from Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, 28-29. Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Maka, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriya, Vasudeva param Jnanam, Vasudeva param Tapa, Vasudeva para Dharmo, Vasudeva param Gati. In the revealed scriptures, the ultimate knowledge of the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna. So, Vasudeva para Veda. Veda means knowledge, the supreme knowledge. The ultimate object is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. This is Sutta Goswami speaking to the sages of Naimisharanya. Vasudeva Paramaka. The purpose of performing all sacrifice is to please him. So this is, we discussed this last week, that the purpose of sacrifice is to please Krishna. Now, those without knowledge are performing sacrifice to please themselves. This is called karma kanda. I give in charity and I'm calculating, I'll get it back. I'll perform this and then I'll go to the heavenly planets. I'll perform this and I'll avoid sinful reaction, prayaschit. But the ultimate reason for any sacrifice is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please him. Yoga is for realizing him. Vasudeva para yoga. So, not being talking about, actually Krishna talked about that earlier, that one sacrifice is to control the breathing and the meditation and the contemplation and on the Supreme Lord. Also in Narada Pancharatriki we also perform that. Before puja we perform Bhuta Shuddhi. That means that one should sit down and Gopi Bhata Kamalayo Dasa Dasana Das. I am the servant of the Supreme Lord. I am not this material body, I am the servant of the Supreme. And then we perform the puja. We've talked about this. Narada Pancharatra is Panch Anga Bhakti. First is the rules of purity. One should get up early, take bath, put tilak, offer obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Then one should gather the objects of worship. And then third one is yoga. It means to fix the consciousness upon the Supreme Lord by mantra contemplation. And then fourth of Pancharatriki is to actually do the puja. So before you offer water, flowers, fruits, tulsi, foodstuffs, you should put your mind in yoga. You should consciously try to adhere to the transcendental platform. Number 5 is Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means Daya is Dhyanam and then Dharana Samadhi. So Swadhyaya in Narada Pancharatriki is number 5. It's also called Panch Anga Bhakti. So the 5th element is that one's own Swadhyaya. If one is following Vidhi Bhakti very nicely, then one will realize Krishna. And as one realizes Krishna, one will gain a certain attraction to Krishna, a certain mood of, as we said earlier, in one of the 5 Sthayi Bhavs, Madhurya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, Sakya Ras, Dasya Bhav, Shanta Ras. So Swadhyaya means that one should contemplate oneself in the mood of one's awakening relationship with the Supreme Lord. This is the more advanced stage of Raganuga Bhakti. One is realizing and awakening his Swarup. So he should consciously contemplate that relationship in his bhajan. So then the next stage is dharana, when that contemplation becomes fixed in the consciousness of the Raganuga Bhakta. And then samadhi, it becomes a constant part of a devotee's body, of spirituality. He no longer identifies with the external body, but he identifies himself in that particular Swarup with the Supreme Lord. So this is Pancharatriki Vidhi. So that is yoga. Yoga is meant to connect one to the Supreme Lord through a ritualized observance of chanting mantra and contemplation and that is to gain rati. After raga, attraction to Krishna in a particular relationship, rati means there is attachment. Attraction, then attachment, then bhava. So, Vasudeva para yoga. Then Vasudeva para kriya. What does that mean? All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. So yes, so Krishna is Paramatma, he's Supreme Soul, he's governing the material and spiritual energy. That's also in the Brahma Samhita, yes? Yes, Twindagopamata Vendra Mahosvakarma Bandhana Rupam Phalam Atanoti Karmadi Nirdahati Kintu Chabakti Bhajam Govinda Madipurisham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the Supreme Lord Govinda, who very scrupulously awards the fruits of all the activities of every individual soul, whether it be as the Indra Gopa germ, or in the case of Indra and all living entities in between. He's rewarding very scrupulously, yeyatam mam prapadyante. He is giving the results to every individual soul according to their karma and karma, their desire and activities. But then karmadi nirdahachikinchita bhakti bhajam means that, however, those that are in the path of bhakti, I burn up to the root the material fruits. The same thing is there in the Gita, right? If you surrender to Krishna, ma sucha, don't worry, Krishna will free you from reaction, good or bad, supposedly good or bad. So, Krishna is awarding everything according to these two parameters. What is your desire and what is your activity? So, if we perform activities in relationship to Krishna, Krishna will reward that. We should understand that. If we follow a Kadaji nicely, then Krishna will give that result. It's not that he will, oh, I'll give the result to this devotee, but not this devotee. Krishna says, I do it very scrupulously, very perfectly in harmony. So that is Krishna. That is his role. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. He is the supreme knowledge, yes. Vasudeva param jnanam, he's supreme knowledge. Vasudeva paratapa, he is, all austerities are performed to know him, right? So the purpose of austerity is not like Hiranyakashipu, he wants to become immortal and of course failed, but it is to please the Supreme Lord, and particularly it is said here, tapasya, like when we fast from grains on Ekadashi, what is the purpose? Is it for reducing blood sugar? No. We are performing the tapasya to know Krishna. So as we discussed last week, that if you perform sacrifice, it's more powerful if you perform it in knowledge, right? Just like if you chant Hare Krishna, that's good, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But if you perform, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, why? To wake up Krishna Prem. Sudha Chitte, Karide Udai. So if you have conscious knowledge during a sacrifice, your tapasya, then it is more potent. Then Vasudeva para dharmo. So Vasudeva is the supreme dharma. That means our swarup is our dharma. Dharma in the Vedas is two categories, Varnashram dharma and Jaiva dharma or Sanatana dharma. So Varnashram dharma is external. It is to do with the material propensities. This person has this nature, so he should perform these activities and discipline him in this way, but he should yad karosi yadanasi dadashiyat yagyata kamanonyatra loko yam karma bandhana tadatam karma kuntaya tad guru swamadapanam. You have to perform your varnashram as an offering to Vishnu, Vishnu the all supreme Lord. So it's a sacrifice. So he is supreme dharma, but Jaiva dharma is that dharma or those activities like I'm describing, Panchanga bhakti for Kali Yuga, Kalo Sudra Sambhava. People are not generally born under great samskars, so Narada Muni has created Pancharatriki Vidhi to elevate us. Not created it, but promulgated it, enumerated it, elucidated it. So this is very important that we understand the purpose of sacrifice. And that it will be rewarded. We should think like that. Oh, it's a bit tough to give up grains and drink little water and chant 64 rounds. But we should understand, you'll get the fruit. You'll get the fruit. Krishna will not let you down. Religion dharma is rendering loving service to him. So yes, Vasudeva Paradharma, loving service. So now we're talking Sanatan Dham. That this, we are Angsar of Krishna, and we are serving the Supreme Lord, that is our dharma, but we are serving the Supreme Lord in Prem Bhakti. Now we're performing sadhana according to the order of the spiritual master. We're chanting 16 rounds, following regulative principles, trying to be pure in the morning, get up, chanting the Brahma Muhurta. We're following rules and regulations out of reverence for the order of the spiritual master. That is Vidhi Marg, Vaidhi Bhakti. But why is everyone, Rishikesha, Rishikena, Sevanam, Bhakti, why is everyone serving Krishna? They're serving in ecstatic love, right? So that is Sanatan Dham, that is Jaiva Dharma, that is the fruit of Swarup Shakti, that's the meaning of Swarupena Abhavashtiti. To be situated in your Swarup means Nityasiddha Krishna Prem Sarakhavanai Shravanadi Sudachitti Karide Udai. To be situated in Krishna Prem. So people are serving, the souls are serving Krishna out of ecstatic love. And they are free of the selfishness in the material world. The gopis, they're dressing themselves very beautifully. Why? Because they want to attract Krishna, enjoy him? No. They're dressing themselves very beautifully so that Krishna is pleased. Why are they going to the Ras Leela? To enjoy Krishna? No. So that Krishna will enjoy their company. So this is the psychology that we should meditate upon. And then it will awaken this which is situated within our own heart, this unselfish love. So the gopis, they're doing everything to please Krishna. They're not trying to use Krishna, they're trying to please Krishna. So this is parodharma, this is the real nature. Dharma means that which is incontrovertible to the constitution of an entity. So the constitutional nature, the swarup of the living entity is Krishna Prem and Seva Bhav. Vasudeva Paragati. So yes, and he is the supreme goal of life, right? Nate Bidu Swakatim He Vishnu. That is the problem in the Bhagavatam. People in the material world, they don't understand what is the goal of life. So they're in this torrent of sense enjoyment at all time. I'll get married so I'll enjoy having a wife and kids. I'll go on holiday so I'll enjoy. I'll give in charity so I get something back and I will enjoy. They're in this torrent of sense enjoyment, but in the spiritual transcendental plane, which is the natural plane of the living entity, there is a torrent of giving to Krishna. So that's also in the Bhagavatam, right? Queen Kunti, she says, Gange Bodham Udanvati. Oh Krishna, please cut off my attachment to my children. So that sounds very strange. The Pandavas are great devotees. Bhima, Nakula, Sahadev, Judas. What does it mean? They're great devotees of Krishna. She says, cut off my attachment. She means, don't let me see them as my children, which is a material interpretation of my attachment. Let me see them as Krishna's devotees, not as my children. So Queen Kunti is saying that, please cut off that attachment. You are the property of the akinchana and the niskinchana. Those without material possession, Savaloka Maheshwaram, they're given everything to Krishna, like Bali Maharaj. And they have no niskinchana, they have no material aspiration. You, Krishna, are their possession. They're not aspiring for anything in this material world. They're aspiring for you. So she says, Gange Bodham Udanvati, that may my devotion, cut off from material conception, flow to you like the Ganga always flows to the sea. No matter what obstacle is there, the Ganga flows over and around the obstacle and goes to the sea. So the devotee prays like that. Queen Kunti is giving us instruction. Krishna, Ainanda Tanuja Kingaram, I am your eternal servant, but I'm stuck here. You pick me up. Please let my devotion flow to you always. And it is this reliance, like a child relies on the mother, this reliance of the devotee on the mercy of Krishna becomes the source of his perfection, because it touches the heart of Krishna. Just like we love children. Why? Because they have this, we're well disposed to children. Why? Because they have this trust in us. Oh, they're daddy, mummy, they love me, they will look after me. So the devotee, he relies on the mercy of Krishna, which is fully expanded in Srimati Radharani and Lord Chaitanya, Namo Mahavaranyaya, and that becomes the source of his perfection, because he knows, Krishna, I'm performing Vaidhi Bhakti, I'm studying the Shastra, but you are in the heart, you will give realization, you will give me liberation, you will put me on the right path. You have said in the Bhagavad Gita, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam ye namam upayantite tesha, what is that? Evanukam patham. Right? That you said in the Gita to Arjuna that those that worship you, you will give them intelligence by which they can come to you. You will reveal the Swarup to them. So it is that reliance on Krishna, Masuchaha, he says, just surrender to me, is the most powerful way of approaching Krishna. Even the 6 Goswamis, just like Krishnadas Kaviraj, he says, oh, I'm just sinful, I'm writing this book, I'm an old man, but it's coming out of me because of Krishna's mercy. So Krishna, his qualities are unlimited, so his mercy is unlimited. This is the point. that Krishna's mercy is unlimited. And so he says, I'm telling you, Arjuna, the great secret, Manmana Bhava Madbhakto, Madhyaji, do everything as an offering, all yajna, everything. Live a life of yajna, as Krishna is saying here, but Mam Namaskuru, offer it to me. Mam Namask, in obeisances. How? What does Lord Chaitanya, when he's the great devotee in the mood of Radharani, what does he say? Pick me up as a particle of dust at your lotus feet. Put me in contact with you, not as somebody big, but as a particle of dust. So it is that humility. And what does Lord Brahma, we've talked about this a number of times, right? When he, after the Brahma Vimohan Leela, he said, oh, let me become grass in Vrindavan Dham, so that the devotees of Krishna, the gopis particularly he was mentioning, they put the dust of their lotus feet upon my head. So it is this humble, faithful, positive attitude that Krishna will be merciful to me, draws the mercy from Lord Chaitanya and all the great acharyas upon us. And that is the power of bhakti. Those that are performing karma think, I must do this yajna properly and give dakshin to the Brahmins so that I get the result and go to Swagaloka. The yogi is meditating. I've got to do this 1,000 Onaloma, Kumbhaka. I'm going to become Kaivalya. I'm going to become liberated. And the Jnani is thinking, the Vedas are interesting, but I'm smart enough to understand them. I'm going to figure it out for myself. So they're all in this mood that, I can work it all out. But the devotee just, Krishna, I'm a fool, I'm a rascal. You just please pick me up. Place me in contact with you as a particle of dust. And then everything will grow naturally. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And so a devotee, he lives a life of yajna. Everything he does is a yajna. I'm cooking for Krishna, not for my stomach. I'm getting up in the morning as a yajna. I'm talking about Krishna, this is my yajna. I'm going to have darshan, this is my yajna, right? I'm being kind, I'm giving knowledge to people, this is my yajna. So this reverses the torrent of sense enjoyment and it turns it into the river Ganga of devotion. And it's there in the Bhagavatam, right? It's stated that Prahlad Maharaj, his devotion was like an unending stream. It was always flowing. So in the mood of sadhana bhakti means to pray to Krishna. Oh Krishna, please put me in that situation where my devotion, like Queen Kunti Devi, always flows to you. I'm conditioned soul, but I'm relying on you. You pick me up. And then we chant Nayanam Gladasru Dharaya in separation. This is the particular sadhana of the devotee. He doesn't think, by my contemplation I will break into the spiritual world, by my meditation. No, he thinks, I'm not fit to go there, but I will go there one day because of Krishna. So this is Vipralamba Seva Bhav. Just like in the Sad Goswami Astakam, what does it say? Hey Radhe Brajadevake, Hey Jalalite, Hey Nanda Sunokata. Where are you? The Goswamis, right? They are Manjari. They are Manjaris writing on these incredible literatures, but they're in Vrindavan. Where is Krishna? They're in separation. They're teaching us. Where is he, on the bank of the Jamuna, or is he in Govardhan? So this is the anxiety. So the spiritual world, in the spiritual world, everything works on that coordination. Sambhog Vipralamba, meeting Krishna and separation. If you read the Govinda Leelamrita, the Astakala Leela Smara, Krishna and Radharani are meeting, and then they are separating. Then they're meeting and separating. Meeting and separation. And this kriya, this activity, increases the bliss. Increases the bliss. If we think, I'm a great musician, the tendency will be, I don't need to practice. But if we think, I have more to learn, then we will keep practicing. So, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So any question? Yes. Oh, you were putting your bag on your shoulder. So I don't know what the time is. Huh? Is it? Oh. Huh? It says 4:45 there.
Very early.
There's no time in the spiritual world. We must have gone to Goloka. Time is a master here, but it's a servant in the spiritual world. All right, thank you all very much for your kind attention and inspiration. Srila Prabhupada Sadhu Sangha Bhagavad Gita Ki.